on this special edition of TKOL, The Year in Review. Top stories of 2024 included reports on unprecedented weather extremes, the region's most destructive wildfire, and highest magnitude earthquake since 1992. Mountain communities were confronted with disastrous situations and emergency operations on two fronts. Wrightwood took the full brunt of severe weather when February's wind-whipped atmospheric snowstorm stranded hundreds of residents and forced closure of roads in and out of the mountain community for several days. The San Bernardino National Forest closure of forest system roads to vehicles remains in effect through the end of June. 11 weeks later, mountain community residents were forced to evacuate when the bridge fire broke out. The late summer bridge fire prompted an unprecedented number of evacuations in the mountain communities while destroying more than 30 homes and scorching over 56,000 acres. The bridge fire combined with the line fire to destroy 20 homes in the Mount Baldy area and another 13 in the Wrightwood area. 6 cabins were also destroyed. Our summer of 2024 was officially California's hottest summer ever, or at least in the last 130 years. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration records go back that far. Not only did many Southern California locations record their hottest temperature on record, 134 in Death Valley, 124 in Palm Springs, but temperatures exceeding 100 degrees for 45 straight days in some locales, the longest hot streak since 2017's 72 days. Our area's hottest summer on record has been accompanied by a series of earthquakes, jarring jolts, and rolling aftershocks felt throughout the greater Southland. The largest earthquake at the time of this report, a 5.2, with its epicenter about 20 miles south of Bakersfield. That's the strongest earthquake in California in 3 years. Aftershocks of that August 6th temblor registered seismic readings in the 4.0 magnitude that continued to prompt reactions from folks across the Victor Valley. That 7.0 earthquake off the northern California coast on December 5th became the quake with the highest Richter scale reading in the Golden State since a 7.2 in 1992. A case of baking the books or cooking the books by an Orange County tax preparer who resides in Victorville is another of our top stories of 2024. That former Orange County tax preparer from Victorville has finally been sentenced on tax fraud charges. Stephen Jake McGonigal was sentenced to 120 months in federal prison for leading multi-year tax fraud conspiracies across 3 countries, which claimed more than $10 million from the IRS and dozens of state tax authorities in fraudulent tax refunds. The 67-year-old Victorville resident was sentenced in U.S. District Court to pay over $1.5 million in restitution. McGonigal had been found guilty in November of 1 count of conspiracy to defraud the United States, 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and 1 count of aggravated identity theft. McGonigal recruited others to help convince the IRS and dozens of state governments to issue millions of dollars in fraudulent tax refunds. To perpetrate the massive fraud that began in 2013 and lasted until McGonigal's arrest in 2019, McGonigal sent one co-conspirator to Thailand to obtain fake identification documents that used stolen victim identities and then filed fraudulent tax returns using the identity theft victims' Social Security numbers. Prosecutors have secured guilty pleas from 2 co-defendants who are also scheduled to be sentenced in the coming months. That concludes this chapter in our top stories of 2024 recaps. Let's flash back to last year. This is the best of 2023 top stories from TKOL, Terry Kurtz Online, your High Desert Sports Report, and Victor Valley TV Local Edition newscasts. Video Sports' favorite stories of 2023. A Brightline update opens this Local Edition newscast. The high-speed Brightline rail system connecting Southern California to Las Vegas has officially broken ground. The $12 billion high-speed train's official groundbreaking has taken place at the location of its Las Vegas station. Brightline West's high-speed trains will reach speeds of 200 miles an hour on their way from Rancho Cucamonga to Las Vegas, with stops in Hesperia and Apple Valley. The 218-mile route will be constructed in the middle of Interstate 15 with 0 grade crossings. Groundbreaking for the California stations have yet to be announced. Hesperia's station will be located within the I-15 median at the I-15 Joshua Street interchange and will function primarily as a local rail service for residents in the high desert on select southbound morning and northbound evening weekday trains. Apple Valley's station will be located on a 300-acre parcel southeast of Dale Evans Parkway and the I-15 interchange. The station is intended to offer a future connection to the High Desert Corridor and California High-Speed Rail. The fast food franchisee who owns 180 Burger King, Taco Bell, and Popeyes locations in California says automation is a fact of life for the industry and that the minimum wage hike for fast food workers is spurring him to install more self-service kiosks. The franchisee is scrambling to get a hold of as many self-service kiosks as he can from vendors because he wants to install them in all of his restaurants in California over the next 30 to 60 days. Self-service kiosks are now being added directly on the front counter of restaurants with the aim to remove registers completely. In addition, artificial intelligence-powered drive-through ordering is underway for all locations. The goal is to be 100% artificial intelligence order-taking capable by this time next year. Burger King, Taco Bell, and Popeyes employ 3,700 fast food workers in California. The wage increase has significantly raised the restaurateurs' labor costs. The first payroll since the wage hike went into effect was 25% higher than it was in March. The Victorville Wellness Center will admit its first individuals and families in time for the holidays. The first of its kind innovative center incorporates on-site medical and recuperative care for the unhoused. The facility is the state's first low-barrier, non-congregate emergency shelter to offer interim housing and wraparound support services with a medical and recuperative care clinic on site. One of the center's most unique features is the inclusion of medical services and recuperative care. Local hospitals will be able to discharge Victorville's unhoused directly to the Wellness Center Medical Clinic to receive the recuperative care they need to recover. With expenses reimbursed through Medi-Cal, the medical clinic and recuperative care will be self-sustaining services. The design of the modular housing units provides 110 separate units with a minimum capacity of 170 beds. Units vary in size, including single, double, and family units. The center includes community spaces, a dog kennel, community garden, industrial kitchen, and recreational sports courts. The Victorville Wellness Center housing units and support service buildings are located on 4.5 acres of city-owned land located on the 16,000 block of First Street. The Wellness Center was constructed primarily through a $28 million Home Key grant from the California Department of Housing and Community Development. Addressed by a number of nonprofit faith-based groups. Senior homelessness is growing at an extremely rapid rate. Statewide, 45% of unsheltered individuals are 50 or older. In 2023, nearly 1,300 adults age 55 and older interacted with the county's homeless response system. San Bernardino and Victorville are the cities with the highest numbers of homeless. In Victorville, that number of unsheltered now exceeds 600. Today, renters need to earn about $36 per hour to pay the rent that averages just under $1,900 a month. This cost is well beyond the reach of hundreds of local seniors who have been forced to join the ranks of the homeless. Their families are often not even aware that their parent or parents are homeless because the elderly do not want to become a burden to their children. Representatives of the San Bernardino County Community Revitalization Department met with stakeholders recently. Community Revitalization is a reworked department that puts community development and housing and the Office of Homeless Services under its umbrella. By combining those two departments, the goal is to create the structure for the county to receive federal and state funding and get it right back out in the community. The department deploys between $50 million and $100 million annually under the Community Revitalization umbrella. During the 2022-2023 fiscal year, they awarded over $18 million in contracts to Continuum of Care agencies and implemented a $1.7 million Encampment Resolution Fund grant to address large-scale homeless encampments, which included the Mojave Riverbed. The department's goals include housing the most at-risk community members and increasing shelter capacity. During the last fiscal year, they served over 2,500 homeless individuals with the Emergency Solutions Grant. We opened this Victor Valley TV Local Edition newscast with the first 9/11 memorial service at Victor Valley College.
Where were you when the world stopped turning that September day? Were you out in the yard with your wife and children or working on some stage in LA? Did you stand there in shock at the sight of that black smoke rising against that blue sky? Did you shout out in anger and fear for your neighbor?
With that kind of spirit, the American spirit, that spirit that says, I will never give up. Someone who never gives up can never be defeated.
But I know Jesus and I talk to God, and I remember this from when I was young. Faith, hope, and love are some good things He gave us, but the greatest is love.
I know when I say that to people, some people say this is not a day of celebration. Yes, it is. America goes on, and America is stronger. And that is because of the American spirit.
Did you open your eyes, hope it never happened?
That none of us
Close your eyes and not go
be found wanting on that day when we come to answer for what we did in response to those two words. So I say them here again. Let's roll.
Faith, hope, and love are some good things He gave us.
So remember that as we teach our next generation. 9/11 was when the enemy took that shot at us. We looked them in the eye and we said, guess what, America's still here and we're coming after you. So remember that when you tell the people who are in charge. Never forget that we're coming after the enemy.
Did you stand there in shock at the sight of that black smoke rising against that blue sky? Did you shout out in anger and fear for your neighbor, or did you sit down and cry?
People who came before us,
Where were you when the world stopped turning that September day?
On this Memorial Day weekend edition of TKOL, we recall the 2017 tribute to Adrian Bender. Adrian Bender was honored posthumously on Veterans Day 2017, the tribute recognizing Adrian Bender's distinguished and decorated service in the United States Army, his brother Dennis receiving the award presented by the First Family Church, their 5th annual ceremony recognizing a local veteran.
This year we picked a very special veteran. His name is Adrian D. Bender. And his family is here today, and so we want to honor them today by honoring their brother.
And today we are extremely honored to present this award to Mr. Dennis Bender, the brother of Army Specialist 5, Adrian D. Bender, who died of cancer caused by the effects of being exposed to the chemicals in Agent Orange while fighting in Vietnam. Adrian was born in Needles, California on February the 4th, 1944. And in his youth, he was a typical happy all-American boy who enjoyed playing outdoors. He loved playing baseball, but he especially loved spending time with his older brother Dennis, hunting ducks and or geese together. And although their parents would let them play outdoors as much as they wanted, still there was 2 things they demanded of them as they grew. The parents insisted that they both get a good secular education and that they also receive good religious training. And according to what Dennis told me, it was impossible to escape either one, because if they walked out the front door of their house, the high school was right there across the street. And if they walked out the side door of their house, there stood the church that they attended. Adrian was an excellent musician also. His main instrument of choice was the saxophone. He played both the alto and the tenor sax. Adrian worked on the railroad while putting himself through college. Soon after graduating, he became the band instructor at Apple Valley High School. And according to his brother, Adrian taught for only a few months before joining the United States Army. He was inducted on 17 September 1968. He spent basic training at Fort Ord and then was sent to Vietnam. While there, Adrian was part of a group that went to Cambodia during the months of May and June of 1970. This group encountered the enemy and captured tons of weapons, military vehicles, ammunition, medical supplies, and even took control of a Mercedes-Benz and a Porsche. During this invasion, complete hospitals, mess halls, and bunker complexes were destroyed, setting the enemy back and giving the United States Army time to withdraw so that the Army of South Vietnam could take over the mission. But unfortunately, like in so many other instances, the Army of South Vietnam was unable to stand against the enemy, and they failed in their part of the mission. It was during this time in Cambodia that Adrian and his fellow soldiers had to walk through dead and dying shrubbery that had been sprayed with Agent Orange. Within a year or so of his contact with this chemical, Adrian began to have growths and sores appear in his body. But at first he did not associate the sores with the fact that he had been exposed to this deadly chemical. Within 2 years of getting out of the service, his brother would have to take him to the hospital to be treated for these sores. The doctors told Adrian that as long as the growths and the sores remained outside the body, he would be okay. But if they ever began to grow inside the body, they would become deadly. Specialist 5, Adrian D. Bender, passed away from cancer due to the effects of Agent Orange on February the 9th, 2003. Specialist 5 Bender was awarded the following medals for his service: the National Defense Service Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, the Air Medal, and the Bronze Star Medal. I'd like to read what was written on that citation when he received the Bronze Star Medal. And I quote, "The President of the United States of America, authorized by executive order on 24 August 1962, has awarded the Bronze Star Medal to Specialist 5 Adrian D. Bender, United States Army, for meritorious achievement in ground operations against hostile forces during the period of 1 March 1970 to 30 June 1970 in the Republic of Vietnam. Given under my hand in the city of Washington this 14th day of July 1970, and it was signed by Jonathan R. Burton, Brigadier General, United States Army." And as I said earlier, Adrian Bender suffered much because of his willingness to serve his country. He suffered physical, emotional, and spiritual pain because of what he was called to do while in the military. But you know, if he was here today, we'll present Adrian will tell us to don't make such a big deal out of it. I was just doing my duty. And like so many of you that are sitting here today, he would tell us, don't make me out to be a hero. Don't put me on a pedestal. But please, just try to understand that what I went through in combat has affected me forever. The sights and sounds of watching my fellow soldiers fight and even die has left an everlasting impact on my soul. And please try to understand what is going through the heart and the mind of an old veteran as he salutes Old Glory, as the bugler plays taps, or as he listens to the Star-Spangled Banner. Greater love has no one than this, that someone laid down his life for his friend. Specialist 5 Adrian D. Bender served his country with honor and distinction. And although his life here on this earth was short, still he left a lasting impression on all who knew him. With that, I'm going to call Mike Gallucci, and as we present this award to Adrian's brother, Dennis Bender, I would like to say that Mr. Dennis Bender has been one of the most loved and well-respected teachers to ever come out of Africa.
Driving in winter storm conditions was among the PowerPoint topics at Wrightwood's annual Winter Traffic Meeting. San Bernardino County Fire, CHP, Angeles National Forest, Public Works, and Caltrans officials met to prepare for the influx of winter visitors who come to the mountain village. Wrightwood sits in portions of Los Angeles County, San Bernardino County, and the Angeles National Forest, so all three regions assist with winter planning. San Bernardino County Fire hopes to have an additional ambulance stationed in Wrightwood this winter and is considering the purchase of additional snow vehicles that will be kept at Wrightwood Station 14. The captain of Victor Valley Sheriff's Station emphasized the importance of having the CHP on speed dial and the departments working together. At the same time, the importance of residents to prepare themselves to survive until help can reach them was pointed out. Listen to that 7-day forecast. Shop ahead of time. Buy canned goods and bottled water. Make sure you have plenty of medication. All advised. Drivers coming up to see the snow should also bring adequate winter clothing, snow boots, an emergency kit, blankets, and extra water and food. Members of CHP, Caltrans, and San Bernardino County Public Works urge visitors not to block the roadways, to put on chains, or play in the snow. They also emphasize the importance of residents parking in their driveways and not on the street so the snowplows can clear the roads. Weather advisory experts foresee a very high El Niño winds season ahead. That's typically a warmer phase, but they cannot predict how it will impact snowfall. A Mountain High Resorts spokesperson stated they are looking forward to another great ski season, a big winter, a super El Niño. New business items on our agenda: the arrival of Veganburg and Rosa Maria's Mexican restaurant, Dairy Queen's return, another Chipotle and Raising Cane's, and a pair of Sprouts Farmers Markets among the new establishments determined to serve the Epicurean delights of Victor Valley residents and visitors this year. The High Desert's first Sprouts Farmers Market is in Victorville, best known for offering fresh produce, meats, and organic food. The new Sprouts will occupy the building that formerly housed Toys R Us on Amargosa Road. The Amargosa Crossroads Retail Shopping Center businesses will include a Chase Bank, a Chipotle drive-thru restaurant, and a Mr. Car Wash. New to Hesperia, Dairy Queen and Rosa Maria's Mexican restaurant, situated side by side on the corner of Bear Valley Road and Cypress Avenue. Veganburg, a pioneer in the world of 100% plant-based burger joints, has opened on Main Street and Catawba Road in Hesperia. Veganburg bills itself as the world's first 100% plant-based burger joint. Plans to construct a new Starbucks have been approved to be located in the Stater Brothers Shopping Center on Main Street and Maple Avenue. This location will be Starbucks' first purpose-built drive-through only model in the Mojave River Valley. A new Pathways to College campus has broken ground in Hesperia. The new facility is south of Mojave Street between 3rd Avenue and Hesperia Road. Completion date is targeted for October of this year. The area's largest housing development ever, Silverwood's master planned community, will bring more than 2,000 homes to Hesperia, with model homes expected to be ready this year. Industrial expansion includes the Hesperia Commerce Center's complex, situated on the west side of Interstate 15 and along Caliente Road. Building 1 is complete with Modway Furniture Wholesaler and Peloton exercise equipment as occupants. Buildings 2 and 3 are nearly finished, with completion expected early this year. Apple Valley planned construction of the new Sprouts Farmers Market and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. Both businesses will be included in a shopping center on the south side of Bear Valley Road, directly across from El Pollo Loco and Sonic Drive-In in the Apple Valley Town Center. The Bell Mountain Commerce Center, billed by town officials as Apple Valley's largest project ever, is a 2.5 million square foot logistics center to be constructed at Stoddard Wells Road and I-15. A Love's Travel Center will be constructed at the corner of Stoddard Wells Road and I-15. The center includes a fuel station, a convenience store, a fast food restaurant, a maintenance building, and an RV park. This special edition of TKOL, the best of 2023, is brought to you by Down Home Grill, serving nutritious and delicious budget-saving weekly specials. 12120 Ridgecrest Road in Victorville. Bid fast and last, world-class auctioneers. Solid quality truck body, family owned and operated since 1954. The Bradco Companies, our area's longest standing full service commercial brokerage firm. Iwanzak Law Firm, trial lawyers for serious problems. We Got 'em Tees, your headquarters for custom screen printing and mastercraft embroidery design. And by the Holiday Inn in Victorville. The Holiday Inn, conference and convention center for the high desert and destination of choice of visitors and travelers to the Victor Valley. That's a wrap on this edition of Terry Kurtz Online. On behalf of Victor Valley Television Productions, thank you for watching. We hope to see you again next time around.